spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I can go for broke, but the capital is in me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. Anywhere I go, DC's coming with me. I spent my whole damn life in the city. I can go for broke, but the capital is in me.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is Kate. You're going to notice the shades. Welcome to Shades Monday, the very first installment of it. Whenever we win, we rock the shades. That's simple. So this is a quick post-game recap. We got the common mailbag, as we always do. Thank you guys so much for the comments. Before we begin this episode, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
Be a winner and share this shit. Share this shit.
Share this shit, please. We greatly appreciate it. So why don't we go ahead and get into it? The Commanders at home opener. Jayden's first time playing in front of the Commanders faithful. Wins, finds a way to win, just to be clear. 21-18. Shout out. Oh, yeah. And here are the stats real quick, which we will get into, of course. Shout out the District Divided player of the game. I mean, it has to be the new kicker, Austin Seibert, 7 of 7, setting a record for us. I mean, he was
shirt in the post game.
He was incredible. He was absolutely incredible. From all the kicking woes that we went through, how about a guy that just drills all 7 of his kicks? And I mean, yeah,
we got our guy.
We got our guy. Perfectly said, K-Dot. I'm going to throw it to you because there's a lot to get to on both sides of the ball, as well as special teams. So the floor is entirely yours. What did you make of the game?
All right, let's start like last week. Let's start with the positive.
Let's start with the positives.
Scrolling through my notes. Positive. Probably should have just have it in like a separate category, right? Our kicker. We talked about him yet? Okay.
District Divided player of the game. Let's go, Austin Seibert.
We won the game. But no, seriously. Jayden Daniels, huge step up from week 1 to week 2. I can't wait to see the all-22 on this one. But you even heard Mark Schlereth like talk about it throughout the broadcast. It was like you could totally see. I actually think the hit that knocked him out of the game for a second, that knocked the win out of him,
we're getting to it,
changed things. So like there was
can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah,
when you asked me last episode, and for those that haven't seen us before, welcome. And also K-Dot asked me last episode, hey, how would you coach in the sort of change that's needed long term for Jayden Daniels to stay in the pocket more, to get his eyes downfield a bit more, and not just rely on instincts, because he still seems to be the best athlete on the field? The correct answer was get hit in the rib cage, get the wind knocked out of you, because after that, we saw the progressions that we needed to see.
100%. Look, there was an absolutely line of demarcation between the hit and before and after the hit to me, which is where like what I've been begging for after watching the all-22 was like stay in the pocket a little bit longer. Things are going to develop for you. Like do it. And the thing was like, we never really got that much downfield, which goes in the next part, which is like from a positive standpoint, as far as those building blocks for Jayden's career, Cliff Kingsbury called a hell of a game. In my opinion, anyway.
I agree with you. We'll get to it.
Yeah, you start off early. Like I remember on the first drive, all sorts of stuff to just try to get him in rhythm, right? Nothing too long. Try to get him as far as like the just passing rhythm, quick passes, screens, running back flats, but like quick throw to Noah Brown, another screen to De'Ami Brown. We're gonna run the football. Love that every time they keep the play counter up between the runs and the passes. They were never with it. They were never more than like a 2 differential. It looked like to me at any point in the game. So like it was well balanced, great job. And what I was seeing as far as the all-22 from week 1, as far as different packages and the way that he was doing a great job as far as stacking the packages in the right way, setting up certain things to set up for stuff later on. It looked good. So I give credit to Cliff Kingsbury, especially compared to what I've seen as far as offensive coordinators for us in the recent history. Working to make sure that he's doing his best to get the quarterback in rhythm and moving forward and making progress, right?
Right.
So that was big. Running backs. Says we got some dudes. We got dudes. Ekeler, even in short amount of stats that he had the ball, always looks extremely explosive. And Brian Robinson is just motherfucker don't know how to quit, right? Like just an amazing day by him. I mean, if it wasn't for if they could get into the end zone, he'd probably be your player of the game. Like
we'll get to that too.
But it's yeah, that was dope. That was really, really dope. Beyond that, as far as any other positive, I'd actually say as far as the defense goes, don't have a ton of positive to say other than Frankie Louvu always showing out. He stepped like outside of that offsides, he was running all over the goddamn.
Which, by the way, he almost timed to perfection. I almost want to call Frankie Louvu the tattoo artist, just because each hit is violent.
I kind of wanted them to replay it because there was a when I saw him do. When the ball, it looked like he was perfectly lined up when the ball was going.
It was closer than people and the broadcast made it out to be.
I
thought he nailed it.
I did too. And then you see him like talking to Bobby and everything afterwards, and like, yeah. But it looked that was decent. Benny St. Juice, as far as anybody in the secondary, first getting the kudos to me. Number one, punching that fucking football out, getting that fumble. Number two, like, yeah, there are certain things that I'm still seeing as far from technique, as far as how far they're playing off the ball, this, that, and the other. But I actually thought that he did a good job, at least on one of the balls. He had he punched out for pass deflection. And I know that we had one of the comments saying, turn your head around. He did. Great job.
The guy had 3 pass deflections and a forced fumble. And with our secondary, that's an immaculate game. Let's be real.
No doubt. So, like, as far as the positives go,
yeah. Yeah. So for me, also, just want to echo what you said. The big winner, let's be real. It is very, very difficult. Let's start here. It's very difficult to win a game in the NFL. It's very difficult for us as a franchise to beat the New York Giants. It's historically been that way, right? So was it ugly? Yes. Let's keep it a buck. It was ugly. 7 field goals versus 3. By the way, they scored 3 touchdowns. I know you see 18. If you didn't see the game, Graham Gano, their kicker, pulled up with a hamstring injury on the opening kickoff. And we'll get to that later when we talk about special teams. But it was 3 touchdowns to 7 field goals. And these guys went for 2 twice, and it just didn't work out. They tried the extra point immediately, which I thought was smart on Brian Daboll's part. It was like, hey, can we do this? The answer was no. It was like, all right, we are basically in 4-down territory anytime we're in Commander's territory. It's that simple. And so we have to go for 2 as well. This easily could have been different if Graham Gano does not pull a hamstring. So wanted to say that. But let's talk about Jayden Daniels. I think we saw a lot of growth today. Does it stick long-term? Certainly hope so. But K-Dot, you and I have been talking about, hey, can you keep your eyes downfield? Can you stay in the pocket? And I think after the hit that you and I both talked about where he got the wind knocked out of him, we saw that. And Mark Schlereth mentioned, he's like, hey, by the way, we're seeing a lot of growth in this game for Jayden Daniels. And hopefully that this sticks long-term. Because if it does, I think we have a hell of a player. 23 of 29, 226 yards. He took 5 sacks, which means staying in the pocket a little bit, maybe not as elusive as last week. But he ran 10 times versus 16 times, which for K-Dot and I, good thing. You know, we would prefer that he plays quarterback. He had the really nice throw to Noah Brown. Once we got the ball back, shout out Malik Neighbors for that drop. I don't know how he dropped it, but thanks for helping Jayden one more time with the dub. Jayden was, I think, very, very good today. If you had to put a grade on his performance, K-Dot, what would you give him?
Well, I mean, I think you grade on a curve.
Sure.
For a rookie quarterback. I'd say it's a solid, like, basing on what it is I saw as far as the play calling. Once again, I still got to look at the all 22.
Of course.
I'll probably say like a B minus. It was a solid outing. I didn't think that they were doing too much as far as pushing down the field. Some of the timing on some of the screens seem a little off in the sense of like you can clearly see a screen is being developed and they take entirely too long to develop. So everybody gets a chance to kind of tee off. So I've been seeing that quite a bit. There was some better downfield blocking as far as it, but it's just the play calling itself. It felt as though they were trying to get him to get the goddamn ball out of his hands fast. At least that's what I was seeing off rip. Maybe the all 22 will show me something different as far as some of the deeper route concepts.
Completely agree with you. And then just to quickly echo this, and then we can get to negatives because that's something I would honestly like to get to. Brian Robinson was fabulous today. 17 carries, 133 yards. I mean, when the guy gets an open field. He is
I think I have the stats
difficult.
for
Yeah, no, thank you for this, Kate. I appreciate it. 17 carries, 133 yards. Shout out Zach Ertz. Also, there was that 150-50 ball where he just wrestled it out.
Yep.
And I think even if the Giants challenged, probably not winning that. Malik Neighbors was an absolute problem. We'll get to that in a bit. But I really liked that Jayden found some rhythm with his tight end. That's supposed to be your friendly position when you're a rookie. Your tight end, that's your safety blanket. And I think Zach Ertz provided that today. That was really nice. And then you got Brian Robinson again, just career day for him. He was awesome. Austin Ekeler, K-Dot mentioned it with the All-22 review. We got guys in the running back room. They're weapons, and they're going to be weapons the rest of the way for us. So really liked the offense, really liked what Cliff Kingsbury called, like you said. And Austin Seibert, of course, district divided player of the game. That is just about the extent of the positives for me, K-Dot. Why don't we go ahead and get into the
I have
negatives?
a half piece.
Go ahead.
So let's say I gave Jayden a B.
Mhm.
He's getting knocked down to a B minus. I needed 6 more yards, you son of a bitch.
That's fair.
I just need a few more yards.
That hit changed it for you. I thought
God
of you
damn.
immediately, K-Dot. I was like, I think he's going to run less. The parlay's in jeopardy.
That's why it's halfsies. So, like, for my personal score,
B-minus.
you get a little minus score. But as far as your long-term development, that's exactly what we wanted to see. You're running a little bit less. So, bravo for your development. Boo-hoo for my bank account.
Let's go ahead and get to the other side of it, which is going to be the negative side of things. So we had mentioned the highlights is, of course, Jayden Daniels, which is the most important thing, just to be clear, for this season is his development. So let's start there. That is great.
Mhm.
Now let's go ahead and talk about the negatives. K-Dot, floor is yours.
Yeah, offensive line still struggling coming from last week into this week. There were absolutely some guys that I don't know what's happening as far as communication, but like you had free runners coming for him. Jayden did a hell of a job getting away from some of that pressure at some points of the game that I was very, very impressed with. But they need to be more consistent as far as the offensive line as a whole. You talk about like if there was anything that I was going to say as far as like the mantra for this game, last week was calm chaos, right? This week is you need to finish things. Okay. Like when A-Train is with a woman, he makes sure he finishes. They might not get to finish, but you need to finish things. Okay. And this is what I'm saying. Is it like you look at the 5 false starts in the red zone? 5
on 4 different drives. Killers.
Like, what? Like even Schleifer said he coached a team with Peyton Manning. He was like, look, if my kids did that, they'd be running forever.
Till the
right?
end of time.
Like that was ridiculous. And like you said, the Malik Neighbors drop and then Gano getting hurt. Like, yes, you need to take care of the games and get the win. If it was a loss after what it is we saw there, it would have been the most frustrating thing ever. But you don't need to beat yourselves, guys. And this is one thing that was like, this coaching staff is supposed to be one in which you're supposed to be like, you got enough experienced guys on this staff that as far as them teaching the fundamentals and making sure that the guys are getting the shit right, this to me is it's getting to me. It's fucking getting to me just a little bit. I just want them to be more professional when it comes to this kind of shit because it is ridiculous. Yeah, so I'm trying to keep it on offense as far as anything negative. Yeah, it's mainly the offensive line and the costly mistakes to themselves. Like that was big. And I had a lot of negatives that I wrote in the first couple drives as far as Jayden running a little bit too much, but he corrected it. So I'm gonna lay off. Defensively,
before you even get there, sorry, I just have to do it. Listen, we're doing hard shit with good people. The offense did their best, the offensive line specifically, when we get to these false starts to give the game away. Yes. Like this was one of those situations where honestly, we shouldn't have won. Let's be real. We got very lucky with the kicker getting hurt. And then 4 or 5 false starts on 4 different drives. You got a rookie quarterback. Are you fucking serious? Like that's what we're doing all this offseason. Hard shit with good people. How about basic shit with good people? Let's start there. There were 10 penalties? Something like that. Like it was ridiculous. It was 10 penalties for 69 yards. Damn near all of them were killers. We'll get to special teams. We'll get to defense. But I just needed to vent there for a moment, K-Dot, because it was ridiculous. And I had us at 9 wins because I think we're going to come on late in the season. It's not happening if we're that poorly disciplined. Like, it just won't. So anyway, that's the offensive side of things.
The Giants aren't a good team. No. We cautioned this was an easy game to lose for us, specifically as far as what we've been seeing. And the part that we haven't even taken into consideration with what it is we've been seeing is you shooting yourself in the foot. So, like, you don't have the room or the wherewithal. We're not a good team yet.
All-star coaching staff, or even if you don't want to give them all-star coaching staff, good coaching staff. You know all the names. This should not be happening. No. I don't care. It should week 1, week 2, preseason should not be happening.
It should not be happening.
10 penalties in your home opener is a joke. Anyway,
yeah, and talking about penalties, let's get to special teams.
Please do.
Austin, great job. Outside of Austin, Nick Bellore, or Ballard, whatever the fuck.
He's got to earn his name, frankly.
Bro, you erased the touchdown off the board to start the game. Okay. And you follow it up with the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't even know the rule existed. The unsportsmanlike conduct. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's just shoot yourself in the foot. Like, look, man, because football allows kicking, special teams is important. And you don't need this motherfucker coming out of nowhere ruining things. Because, like, you look at that touchdown and start, that changes everything. That changes the entire dynamic of all of it.
He was nowhere near the fucking play.
It didn't make any sense. But I know, look, new guy off the block, you got to get your head on right. You can't fucking do it. I give you credit beyond the 2 absolutely horrendous plays. I don't know if they took him out of the game or not, but I didn't hear him called anymore. So I was happy about that shit. Yeah. Otherwise, special teams, all right, fine. But not him. That was fucking terrible.
No, and to be fair, with Nick Bellore, okay, so his first 2 plays could not have gone anywhere, right? So we have the hold, which negates. I mean, come on. Opening kickoff home opener. Austin houses it. And this hold is irrelevant to the play. That gets negated. All right. By the way, in retrospect, would have been our only touchdown of the game. Mm-hmm. Then we get to when we kick it off after we're up 3-0, unsportsmanlike conduct. He did have 2 tackles after, which means he did continue playing, and he did clean it up. Didn't get called after that. But man, what a terrible way to start the game for Nick.
Never again. Like, Nick, new guy, cool. You got your 2. We got the win. Never again. Seriously. I never want to hear your name again when it comes to a penalty on special team. Ever again. These are your mistakes. Learn from them. Cool. Never again.
Go ahead.
Defense. I gave my props to the 2 guys that I could give props to on defense. Otherwise, Jesus Christ. I mean, thank God for what it is we're talking about as far as complimentary football and what it is we did. I'm pulling this back up at the time of possession. Yeah, 37 minutes to the 22. Like, that was crucial because Lord knows, majority of the game when Daniel Jones and that offense were out there, we couldn't stop shit until they started shooting themselves in the fucking foot. Like
sorry, I feel like you're actually going through a flow, and I'm just so angry still.
Yeah, no, I'm not angry. I'm very happy. So
well, okay, I'm still livid because Daniel Jones, and we knew this would happen. Here's the thing: we knew this would happen. 16-28, 178 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay, only got sacked 1 time. Mm-hmm. QBR of 63.6. Of course, 50 is average, so he had a better than average day across. Good for him. 100 passer rating. 5 carries, 32 yards. We couldn't stop Malik Neighbors. I'm going to throw it back to you because I had a bigger problem than Daniel. So go ahead.
Devin Singletary, the run game. Like, we got punched in the mouth and we couldn't do anything about it. It was every run, it felt like they were getting to the second level without any fucking problems. And then when I go back to what the mantra of this game is, finish, they couldn't finish shit. So it was like all these missed tackles, all these like half-hearted looking tackles. Like, I don't want to question anybody's like strength or drive or effort necessarily, but Lord knows you got to do better than that as far as taking these dudes down. Singletary, look, everybody knows the drop off from a Saquon Barkley to a Devin Singletary. It's not their strength, and we do not need to make it. There's no I'll put it this way. there are a lot more talented running backs that are in our schedule going forward than Devin Singletary. And if you can't tackle that motherfucker, you're going to have a long season.
I mean, that was my biggest problem, K-Dot, is that when we're as undisciplined as we are today, I'll just leave it at today, right? We talk about the 10 penalties, and you can't stop the run. Thank goodness for the St. Juste punch out. And shout out again to Benjamin.
I have it written right here. The sigh of relief that I gave on that fumble, because Lord knows I don't think I was breathing when they were on defense.
K-Dot, we lose without that, which is why Benjamin St. Juste is actually highlighted as a positive. And he did have the pass deflections as well.
Right.
But when you think about how maligned he is, unfortunately, that punch out was everything, because they were driving again. And that offensive line parted our defensive line. You may as well call him Moses Singletary, because he was, the Red Sea parted completely. He just was able to go wherever he wanted to. I was shocked. We have Jonathan Allen. We have Deron Payne. We have Johnny Newton making his first start. Fine. Give him a pass. His very first, or not start, but first game, first action. Fine. It is unacceptable to be moved that easily, especially when you're supposed to be as talented as you are. If you can't stop the run, you are penalized that often. It takes something like the kicker getting hurt on the opposing team for you to win this game. That's why, as happy as I am that we won, and it's hard to win in this league, and it's Jayden's first ever win, and that's awesome. Man, there were some serious red flags about today that I really hope don't continue into the next one. And it honestly starts with the run defense. We knew Daniel Jones was going through a hard time. We didn't make it difficult for him. He hardly had 3rd and long. Devin could do whatever he wanted to because of that offensive line. Anyway, go ahead.
What's the name of our Washington Post beat reporter? Nikki, what's her last name?
Jabala,
right. She had something on her Twitter, which is like, one reporter asked Maya, have you seen Newton on the defensive line? And the other reporter says, I haven't seen anybody. The defense
nailed it.
like that.
Yeah, I retweeted that because I was livid. I was like, yep. We could have played it. K-Dot, we honestly could have played it. Would have made no difference, at least on the run plays, obviously. Deron got through a couple times, but on the run plays, it was the same thing.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like, I'd actually say, once again, I'll look at the all-22 and see what's what. But it felt as though there was almost a regression to a certain degree as far as what was happening with the defensive pressure, which is concerning. Be it that especially the interior of the defensive line, and then the linebackers are supposed to be the core strength of the team. Actually, looking at both offense and defense, those were the two positions we probably had the least questions about, in the sense of we had our faith chips. They were definitely the ones that we gave the most to. And knowing that they're having these issues so early on, look, we've known that the defensive line historically, even under Ron Rivera, have struggled early. And a lot of it was communication based, as far as what was happening. Right now, it just feels as though these guys they're playing like they're just not good enough. And that to me is that's deeply concerning. And when we start getting in the territory of which, if the defensive line isn't going to do anything with the level of talent, the amount of money that's being spent there, you look as far as trade deadline. Yeah, I mean, you might want to get more assets to go into next year's draft. I would not necessarily be surprised if we're going to get this out of the output.
If I could also add to that, K-Dot, you saw Jamin Davis healthy scratch this week. Dark Forest also out. We are seeing signs of, if we didn't draft you, if we didn't bring you in, you are expendable. Right. And so when we talk about Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, it's possible. I know it's only week 2 and we just won.
Yeah, of course.
So let's keep all that in mind too. I'm more or less saying that for myself, but I'm sure there are a couple other fans who were disappointed with the way that we won this game, and disappointed with how easy it felt like New York was able to move the ball on us. But it's a real possibility, because we talk about recalibration. Well, they talk about recalibration, the front office and the coaching staff. It's a rebuild. I mean, it's a rebuild. And so if they can get more picks to get more of their people in, yeah, just don't be surprised. So
No,
they've got a few weeks here, but don't be surprised.
Doing hard shit with good people is a good example of this game and gutting it out and getting the win. I just don't like that the hard shit seemed to be the situation we put ourselves in.
Agreed.
Like that's frustrating. So like, but yeah, I mean, once again, week 2 of the NFL season, it's been a really weird 2 weeks of the NFL season.
Saints
Like
look great, huh?
I mean, I fuck. Yeah, I had no faith in those guys, and
Same.
they are totally fucking kicking ass. Yeah. No, I mean, I know you had more faith. I mean, because I'm listening.
Did Bryce get hurt? Hold on, let me check. Go ahead, continue.
Oh no, I don't think so.
All right, we wait.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just playing. I'm playing.
I did have running back on the offense just a second. Terry McLaurin. They tried to get him involved in the game. You can see at some points they were just queuing up plays, just force it to him.
8 targets.
They were mostly screens that didn't do shit. And that goes back to the slow to develop this, that, and the other. The next step on offense that they have to do is push the ball downfield, as we've said. But that's the one thing that I think we're going to need to see from Terry as far as the way that they're lining him up. They've got to push the ball downfield. Otherwise, he's going to be – I mean, I love the effort. I loved him jawing back and forth with the Giants players, like basically telling them, I don't give a fuck how hard you hit me or whatever. I'm here, motherfucker. Like, that was nice. He still didn't seem like he was just out there running wind sprints like last year. But it just – we need to get him more involved as far as an actionable, real-world we got to pat the stat sheet just a bit for him. Make him feel like he's a part of something. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, completely agreed. And the thing is – teams are going to start playing the short ball a little bit more as we continue to do this, as the average depth of target continues to stay
which might be what they're setting up,
which is interesting, right? Because then all of a sudden you get into, okay, Cliff called a pretty good game today because, mind you, that was 7 scoring drives, right?
Yeah,
I don't
know it was done.
If I recall, I mean, I don't think Tressway punted. I don't think so. Nope, did not punt, right? So like, we're getting into position.
No, they're moving. It's just when you get to the end zone, when we get to the red zone, it was shot in the foot.
Absolutely shot in the foot. And that's when we get back to the penalties. And, you know, we got a week to clean it up. Curious to see what happens. Defense, Noah Igbenogany is all of a sudden our number 1 corner and is on Malik Neighbors, who, by the way, went off 10 catches, 127 yards and a touchdown. Thank goodness for that drop. I don't know how this game ends without that. I don't know how this game ends without Gano getting hurt. I don't know how this game ends without the fumble. And I give us credit for the fumble, just to be clear. I'm not like, oh, man, we got lucky. St. Juste, that was an incredible play. So props to him. Hats off to him. But we got work to do, K-Dot. We got a lot of work to do.
I had a list of questions that I kind of asked myself throughout the game, or at least observations I had throughout the game.
Sure.
Number one, what's up with Jayden on options? It felt like he was making the wrong read on a lot of the.
Did you see one? We were in the red zone, and well, okay, but there was one in particular where he gives to B-Rob,
and it wasn't.
And as he's jogging, points to the end zone and goes, "Oh, I should have kept that one."
He was fucking that up.
He fucked it up for sure. I can't remember if it was pre or post hit. I think it was post hit.
It's post hit. He was fucking it up all game. There was one really good one. I think it was at the end of the game, that run that he had outside that I was like, oh, you read that perfect. But I felt like he was doing the exact opposite of the read that he was supposed to. So cue that shit up in the simulator, guys. Also, Jayden really hates having his helmet on. I've never seen a dude every time like there's a timeout rip his helmet off as fast as he does.
So by the way, the helmet off thing is going to be a thing.
I know.
He's not adjusting.
I've never seen this.
Like, he's our guy.
They had one where he was walking back on the field and he was really tightening the straps. So I was like, oh, yeah, that's good. But the moment that there's any timeouts, the helmet's off. I just found it to be a weird thing. Oh, then my third thing was maybe the hit was good for him. I think we're in agreement there.
We are in complete agreement.
Oh, and it was. Is he making the wrong read on every single option? I think.
Okay. Well, that's a bit much. I will say this.
I think I might be right. I think he might have been like 1 for 6 today.
Maybe. I will say this. He was 0 for when it came to throwing the ball away. That is something where he is so used to, and you can tell, being the most athletic person on the field, that he just never quits the play.
Yeah.
And so that is something I would love to see him do, because some of the sacks, 5 sacks for 16 yards, which isn't much, just to be clear. yardage wise, but you can still save those yards, right? And you can save a hit by throwing it away. And so again, we saw a lot of growth today that we hope is long-term.
Yeah, there was
That's going to be part of it too. What'd you say?
There was the one run near the red zone that he held on to it as long as he held on. He stepped up in the pocket. He waited until the last moment, and it was like, fuck it, I'm going now. That's what I want to see.
Oh, yeah. We saw some throws downfield too where he picked his head up as he was scrambling. It was stuff that we said last week. We were like, please do it. He's already doing it, so that's great.
No, it's good. And my last one was, is Mark Schlereth sexually attracted to Dexter Lawrence?
Yes. The ham, egg, and cheese hamstrings comment.
That was like his 5th comment on Dexter Lawrence. He's a big man. He's so big.
He loves. So Schlereth, mind you, is one of those guys who calls. So we got skill position players, right? What comes to mind for you, K-Dot, when you hear skill position player?
I don't know. There's a lot of different skills position players
in football. Running back, wide receiver, people that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's like, you want me to
okay. So, but the point being, the general consensus is it's going to be people that catch the ball, that run the ball, that handle,
skills position
quarterback, skill position. And Mark Schlereth, and Mark Schlereth makes the case that there is no greater skill in football than moving another man against his will. And
I agree with that.
That's the line. And I agree with him.
Yeah.
So Dexter Lawrence and that question you had, I think you're onto something.
Okay. I just noticed
I'm just lending credence to the point. I think you're right.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got until I watched the All-22, which is I'm really, really excited to watch the All-22. I know that I was telling you guys like how much I was excited about any time that I saw them in 21 with Ekeler and Rob out on the field at the same time, and they did that a few times this game. They did more this game. Yeah, man, there's a lot of things that I'm really interested in as far as what's making me tick the most is just what the offense is looking like. And I know even Schlereth brought it up as far as what the Anthony Lynn, this is the most I've gotten as far as the Anthony Lynn, Cliff Kingsbury relationship in the sense of the way they make it seem as though Anthony Lynn's the one that holds Cliff honest. Like, hey, we're in the run game. Got to run it. Got to run this. And that's looking good. I'm liking the combination of the two. Things are getting pretty interesting. I just want to see what it looks like as far as the moving downfield. But I also want to watch the All-22 to see how much of that was actually present in this game that we didn't take advantage of.
I am pumped for you to watch the All-22 as well. Curious to see, because that was one of the thoughts that came up for me too, K-Dot, I was like, I can't wait for K-Dot to see the All-22 because I think Jayden left some meat on the bone again, and which makes sense. I mean, he's a rookie QB. It's week 2.
Yeah.
Probably some home jitters as well and excitement. So, but I am curious to see and hear your thoughts on it. Let's go over to the comment mailbag where we have many comments. But of course, before we even begin reading those comments, over to you, K-Dot, and a certain Nikki.
Let it ride!
Comment mailbag time, motherfuckers. District divided, ain't got time for no suckers. Spread the word, get in line. OGs and new G's, it's your time. And spread the gospel, cause this shit is divine. Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
It's a long way to go. Here's a long way to go. That was tough. Sorry, cracking up off screen. We begin with Vindo. Shout out Nikki as always for that. Appreciate it. Shout out Vindo. 3 fire emojis. I think really enjoyed the episode that we had, which was over 90 minutes. Shout out. Appreciate you listening, Vindo, to the video. We go over to Coach. Shout out Coach Lombard, of course. Great show, guys. I know K-Dot hates to think of himself as an X's and O's guy, but I absolutely agree with his takes on the tape and your takes on the passing charts. More specifics. Dexter Lawrence is blue chip and Biotish is a bit undersized. Lucas is better than Leno, but is still a D tier liability. Wiley is an F tier disaster. I agree with you about moving Lucas to right tackle. There's more, and we'll let you react, K-Dot. Drew Phillips and Adoree Jackson are decent corners, but Nick McLeod and Cordell Flott are absolute ass. Benjamin St. Juste and Forbes levels of bad must be noted. St. Juste had a nice game. I'm betting New York Giants 23, Commanders 20, with Brian Burns as the MVP. So glad coach was wrong on this. I appreciate your objective and respectful takes. Seriously, this pod is the best NFL in-season analysis pod. Hey, it's across the board. Hashtag share this shit. Greatly appreciate the comment there, coach. K-Dot, your reaction.
You were wrong about some stuff, but I will say thank you as far as the X's and O's thing. It's not that I don't want to consider or I don't like being considered an X's and O's guy. I just don't feel as though I've earned it. I don't feel as though I know the game as much as some other people do, but I'm working on it. I'm working really, really hard at it. So it's just I don't feel as though I've earned my keep in that realm just yet.
All right.
Beyond that, I did call the spread properly.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
You did. It was a 3-point victory. So
spoiler alert. 23-20 all year. All year.
I was going to say, so I put together a short that I threw. I was like, oh, let's just see how it works. First off, got to work on that algorithm. So there's some work to do over there. But the 23-20, I enjoyed editing that and being like, he did call it for the second straight week. Got the point differential, right?
I'll be calling it next week. I know.
Coach Lombard one more time. I don't know about next week being 23-20. Mm-hmm. Curious to get an updated take on Atlanta after Monday night. Kirk is, and this is in all caps, cooked. Penix was my QB1 on my board. Okay, not QB2. I had Jayden 1, Penix 2, Drake 3, Caleb 4. Penix is the QB1. Coach, how give us your rookie QB rankings, entry. I would love to hear that. Anyway, Penix was my QB1 on my board. I care a lot about pro readiness, and I just didn't think Daniels was ready. I still don't. Lots of room to grow. And I think we saw a good amount of growth, like we were talking about with our post-game thoughts there, Kate. But over to you, your reaction.
The Falcons still have to play Monday night. Until they do.
Let it ride!
I can't believe how scarred Bryce Young is. Genuinely. It is the film breakdown of him running into pressure is so anti what he did.
I refuse to watch the all-22 for him right now.
You know how hard it was for me to do it?
I'm not doing it.
No, you don't have to. It's not your side piece team. It's my responsibility. Okay.
Well, the Atlanta Falcons are going to be based on one thing and one thing only. Is Kirk going to be healthy enough at some point during the season? That's all I'm looking at this point. And I'll actually say, after looking at even Joe Burrow, the wrist looks better than it did week 1. So, I mean, there is a chance that he gets a little bit better, but they didn't even try to work any play action with him. And if that's going to be the case, then, yeah, that's going to be a rough fucking season for Atlanta, I think.
100%. And they've got, I want to say Kansas City after Philly. Now, A.J. Brown is going to be out. So there is that.
I still think they can win this game.
I would say absolutely, but it is primetime, Kirk. So we'll see. We go over to Donay. Shut up, Donay. Watched week 1's 22, and Jayden Daniels got to do better. He will. Hashtag trust the process.
There we go. He did.
Completely agree. Yep. Rio Robinson. I'm sure many of you know Rio Robinson. Shout out Rio Robinson. We should collab sometime. We got to reach out to you. You can certainly curse and be monetized. I cuss a lot.
Good fucking no.
Is the advice from Rio Robinson, who is, one of the best content creators out there in general, let alone in just Commanders, in Commanders Nation. What'd you say there, kid?
I still can't talk about how your favorite season is winter and your favorite weather is snow.
Well, yeah, there are some restrictions. It's honestly probably good for me and my personal image. Well, not my image, A-Train's image, but you've more or less colored. For the people that need to know about A-Train's image and what you've colored, it's
a lot of white. Colored a lot of white in there.
Okay, you know what? We're going over to Blood Clot. Shout out Blood Clot. And shout out Rio one more time. Appreciate it. Here's Blood Clot. I love the all-22 music, as well as the comment mailbag, of course. Are you making that with AI? Or is that actual people in a studio? K-Dot, I'm going to throw that to you.
It's a studio of sorts. AI might be involved.
Might not.
You'll never know.
Yeah. And the thing is, Nikki personally. We've talked about it off.
And there are many Nickies.
Big Papa Grizzly. And shout out one more time to Blood Clot. Appreciate that.
Papa.
I don't know how different the offense is going to look this week. I think Cliff is trying to bring Jayden Daniels along as slowly and cautiously as he is being allowed. I expect to see a lot more max protection to try and help settle the rook down. The defense had better look a lot different if we were going to bring home that elusive dub against the Giants. It didn't, but we did.
Turnover.
I honestly think that over the last 3 years, the Giants never got taken seriously by the coaching staff or the ownership. They looked at it like a walk-off, and it never turned out that way. Like we've been saying all offseason, this feels different. They're taking everything seriously. They know what to work on now. I truly believe the product on the field will be better on both sides of the ball. 27-17 Commanders get the dub in the home opener, and DC goes wild. I'm looking for B-Rob to keep proving me right on offense. He was spectacular. And I think D-line as a whole is going to shine brightest on defense. Oh, not the hottest takes, I know, but we're keeping our expectations realistic around here, right, K-Dot? With a wink face emoji there. Hashtag raise hail. Hashtag share this shit. Your reaction, K-Dot?
I appreciate the comment. Not a lot of it was correct. I do agree.
Hey, he nailed B-Rob.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He nailed. I think he nailed the Jayden Daniels Cliff thing.
No, the Cliff thing. That's
two things. So Big Pop.
Yeah.
That's two things.
Two things. Mother
out of 3 or 4. Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna go over to Sunday Night Football is happening too right now as we record this. So I'm wondering if Kiddo has a reaction there. We got, of course, Juste Santo. Shout out, Jess. I think Harris and company are on a mission to revive this fan base and truly regain a home field advantage. I believe they view this game as a stepping stone towards regaining the fans' belief in the team. They were embarrassed last week and are coming in swinging against a Giants team who is floundering. An ass whooping would mean a lot to us, especially with the recent record between these two franchises. I think there's blood in the water with the Giants, and anything less than a win would be a huge setback in this team's momentum. I'm stopping for a moment. There's more to the comment. He's 100% right. 100% right.
Yeah.
Comment. I also think the Giants are going to have their hands full with neighbors. I grew up with guys like him. They come across as cool, but low-key, they're volatile. He's not going to be able to handle the losing, embarrassment, angry fans, and Jones quarterback play all season. Share this shit. K-Dot, your reaction to Juste Santos' comment there.
Yeah, no, the win was extremely crucial. Now, remember, at this point during my preseason, I had us at 2 wins right now before we lose 4 in a row. I still think we're going to lose some in a row. But the 1 win does help. I will say, I agree as far as the fan base and everything else, but I did have a question. Did it seem like the crowd was really loud when we were on offense at times?
Yeah.
Especially down in the end zone. I don't think it helped as far as.
Well, we got a lot of people after Yapich left, right, that are coming back, and they're getting used to it again, right? They're learning. Yeah. Hey, hold on. When we're on offense,
like Wale was coming for the halftime.
Jayden was going like this so many times where he was like,
it was a little rough.
Hey,
but I mean, once again, baby steps. I know that, like, look, if I'm being completely honest, if somebody, so I got invited to go to the Raiders-Ravens game today. Which actually, looking at how the Ravens lost that game, might have been interesting to fucking go. But
your boy, Gardner.
But I will say, if somebody had told me, like, hey, I got tickets to the Commanders too, do you want to come down and see the Commanders game? I probably would have passed.
I mean, it's early on. There's still some.
Plus, I got to get back and do the pod.
No, that's true.
It's just like, it was like, so I'm waiting for that moment that comes where it's like, oh no, I got to be there.
Yeah.
I have to be there for that. And they're not there with me just yet. They're getting there, though. I will say it's absolutely making a ton of progress compared to last time I went to a game where I was like, I'm never fucking going back. Like, I'm back in the cold.
Definitely a ton of progress.
Yeah.
Northwest Field / the Fed is becoming a thing. They're still sort of working that out. But, hey, at the end of the day, this was a win. It's hard to win in the NFL. We know that. Look how many wins we had last season. We know how hard it is. And congratulations to our Washington Commanders for beating the New York Giants, which hasn't always been easy. This was our first win against Brian Daboll, right? So, like,
good win.
Still, a win's a win. They don't ask how, they ask how many, and this was crucial. This was the show. This was District Divided DC Sports Podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. The recap And if you enjoyed the video, please like it. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Comment as you always do. And K-Dot.
You guys give up or you're thirsty for more?
Heads up!
Don't worry, Marv, I'll get him for you.
Share this shit.
That is insane. Hey, the Ravens are 0-2 also. Well done, though. I gotta give it to you. That was... Guys, I don't know what this man's coming up with in the lab. Share this shit. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you, guys. We'll see you Friday at 2 p.m. as always. Till then, take it easy.
Bye, everybody.
Let it ride!
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.